a short window of time.
Hi, Becky again. I saw her earlier today.
I can't believe Judy's gonna be late. This is her area and she's gonna be late.
Porter's a little ways from here.
A little bit.
I would say, at least. All right, I guess Becky, you get to do this fun job. Excuse me.
Please do that, so I don't have to change my day tomorrow. I have to self-check in the morning.
Yeah, Jane's not here.
Yeah, she's gone.
She's on her anniversary.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
or
right.
something, yeah.
Oh, that sounded like, I actually went home and looked that up because I'd written it down. I was like, "See that?"
How was your trip?
Arsenal, the
To,
conference.
conference.
Yeah. It was good. Draining as normal, but yeah, I was peopled out by the.
Yeah.
That's what we all said, we were done with people.
But yeah, it was good. We got some really good, information, ideas.
I felt sorry for Teresa because she didn't get to go.
I know. We had several that ended up not being able to go. So Susan didn't get to go, like the day before, the night before, she earned her meeting in, so she wasn't able. Yeah.
Conferences are one of my favorite things. Of course, I'm also an extrovert, so it takes me off.
See, it drains my battery.
Yeah.
I love them, but yeah, it is very draining.
I have to try to balance while I'm there.
You want me to help you sign checks again?
I mean, if you want, if you're offering, what's the difference? And you can go.
Last time that's what you did, you split them up.
Well, she's got to take minutes too.
I know.
So I thought maybe it'd help her get through it.
Jane was in the hospital.
I mean,
She's okay. I mean, I assume she's okay. She didn't.
As far as I know, I mean,
Yeah,
they
she
went on the
said-
trip.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I wished I had that fancy
Virgin Islands, but I don't know if I did that before or after the last. But it was still great.
Ellis.
Time of year to get that last summer.
Well, and we timed it right, because I'm like hurricane. Right in the middle. Right in the middle.
My vacation was I went to the basement for a couple hours, and then I came back upstairs.
Sometimes that's not a bad vacation.
I guess.
Many of my vacations are reading books that are set somewhere else. I'm like, okay, felt like I was there.
I haven't had a vacation
Friendly.
for about 10
Kind of feel like it
years.
was a little bit of a road trip coming here, so it was nice. Windows down, you know.
Yeah, you had to come all the way from Holden, that was like.
Thank you. I haven't got to have a vacation in over 10 years, and I'm really wanting one.
I probably wouldn't be functioning if that was the case.
It's not been fun, let me tell you.
Tessa, I had forgotten when I talked to you earlier that you were coming tonight. Can I just send that with you?
Sure. I will take it with me and probably stuff, well, I don't know if I have all the stuff in there. Yes, there is.
It's
I'll
all
stuff
in
them
there.
tonight.
Yep.
So then I'll
She
have
gets them
to-
all ready, so.
So then I can put them in the mail in the morning.
Well, you don't even have to do it tonight, you just do it in the morning. Just in case I don't come in the morning.
Well, since I have to leave for the funeral,
Oh, that's right, I forget you're leaving early tomorrow.
gonna count them next time just to make sure they're split evenly.
Yeah,
I think I gave myself the bigger stack. Jane will be back to do it next time.
that's right.
Yeah, she's her name. She's Hi, Laura.
You saved you a seat down there.
My parents named all of their kids with 3 syllables in their first name.
Make it easy to subscribe tonight then.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed when people do things like that like they planned this out, how they are.
And we all have we have 2 in our middle name. I don't know if it just worked out that way.
Oh, no, here he is. What are we gonna call him?
I named my children names they could buy a coffee cup with, because you can't buy a Goldie coffee cup.
My kids can't find any of the personalized stuff either, but I spelled it the traditional way. So it's not like a weird spelling, it's just
Helpful to teachers.
Oh, yeah.
so.
You don't find too many Carlin keychains in gas
Order
stations.
it
Yeah.
specifically.
I used to get fun on
Oh, you're fine.
I don't know how
Probably
to.
probably spelled oddly too or something. Not your name.
Jackie, but they always had the Y.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You
Yeah,
know.
differently than you.
Well, I work with a Jackie who is
Yeah.
JACQUE.
I was in
I wish I'd have. Full name Jacqueline is JACQUELI.
Yeah. And I figured that's why she,
Yeah.
I know because we live in Warrenburg.
3 minutes.
Yeah, I think I may have been to Peter's Orchard because I went to an orchard that was in the.
Bear with me tonight. I'm like not hitting head.
Yeah,
you've had.
I think it's a migraine. I don't know.
Yeah. 24. You don't feel bad, man. I was sick the other week, like for almost a week. I felt so awful. My throat has never been this bad.
Yeah, my throat hasn't been sore.
Oh, yeah. It didn't start that way, but then when
It's fairly small. I think it's about the same size as you.
move in my head, it was awful. Oh, I was like a basket. Almost overwhelmed.
Well, I left work early yesterday. That's why I was telling Marjorie, I don't even know what time I left yesterday. I was just like, oh, I'm going home. Went home, went to bed, slept, got up, ate dinner, went back to bed, slept all night.
Yeah.
Slept
That's
in
when you know
today.
you're really sick, when you sleep like for hours and hours and still you're exhausted.
And I'm like, oh.
I didn't
The
even-
board meeting tonight.
I mean, it was a while back when I figured it out, but.
I'm here.
I had a migraine.
But they're supposed to. She was gonna be late.
It's like all my friends.
I thought she was gonna be late. I was saying, Judy's nice about her. This is her area. She has to come back.
And I went out, and I lived by the school really close, and I was like,
I got into a conversation with my neighbor.
I was like, I'm just gonna walk.
Oh, gotcha.
I stopped to catch
See, you was at the same restaurant I did.
I
Exit comes on during the meeting. It's here.
Laura's here.
Tess is here, yeah. Mike and Jane will not.
Aren't coming.
Patty, do you know? Oh, wait.
What's that?
Do you know when Creamy Freeze closes? October.
Usually, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry, October 1st, yeah.
What is Creamy Freeze? It sounds.
Oh my gosh, you've never been to Creamy Freeze. You have not lived. You have not lived. They have the best ice cream on the planet.
This in Concordia?
Oh, yeah.
How late are they open? I've seen
Onion rings. They have fantastic onion rings and hamburgers. They're just a good place to eat.
Just, if you go, make sure you have plenty of time, because if you're not willing to wait, you really don't want to get any food there, but it is awesome. Takes a half an hour to get a kitty cone. But
It's worth
If I
it.
go with that in my brain, I'm fine, you know.
All right, I think it's 7. Let's go ahead and start, call this meeting to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Let me get there. All right, we're just gonna go around. Leanna? Here. Goldie? Here. Judy?
Here.
Michelle? Here. Carolyn?
Here.
Becky? Here. Dan?
Here.
Patty?
Here.
Mike? and Jane.
Thank you. All right. I guess it doesn't look like we have any public comments, or is Tessa on public comments?
No, she's
okay.
on the agenda.
Okay. Okay, she's on the agenda. All right. All right, so no public comments tonight. Let's go. Hold on, I got something. My hair's in my mouth. Sorry. All right, the next item is the consent agenda. I don't know if you newer people are familiar with consent agenda. If there's ever anything you want to pull out of there, you just need to ask and we can take it separately. Otherwise, we just do the whole consent agenda at one time. So just so you're aware of that. All right, does anybody have anything, or do I hear a motion?
I move to accept the consent agenda, or the agenda, is that the right way?
Consent.
Consent agenda.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded to accept the consent agenda. Any discussion? Okay, so let's have a roll call vote. I'm gonna go roll call vote because there's been several times when people say, shouldn't that be roll call? So we're just gonna do roll call, and that's gonna be it.
Time?
All right, go ahead.
Leanna?
Oh,
Goldie?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Carlin?
yes.
Becky? Yes. Jane?
Yes.
Abby?
All right, on to unfinished business. Okay, this is basically, I asked Jackie to just kind of give a report because I felt like some of the newer people needed to kind of just, and all of us to know how it went down, and so it's clear to everybody.
Okay, so I did put some information there in your packet. So on September 6th, Mr. Wiseman sent a letter to the City of Holden, and he included a copy of our strategic plan and the new program brochure for the Holden branch. So after I discussed, with Mr. Wiseman, decided that including those documents would be the friendliest response to their request. Mayor Briscoe did respond to Mr. Wiseman's email, and he thanked him for the information. He did state in his email that he would include this documentation within the lease information for the library building and forward the additional information to those making the additional requests for information. That's word for word from his email. The only other thing I did receive on September 11th, a letter. It was dated September 1st. I did reach out to Mr. Wiseman, and he said, I'm sure it just kind of passed in the mail. And so he said we didn't need to do anything else. So, you're good to go. October 1st, it rolls over for another 20 years automatically. So we're good for 20 more years.
Does anybody have any questions or anything else they want to ask her? Okay, thanks, Jackie. I guess
That was a
probably
little
wasn't-
extra work for you and a bit of a scramble, but it all worked out okay.
It worked out, that's right.
Okay, first on new business will be Laura Gillum. She's going to give us a presentation about the audit.
Thank you. I enjoy working with Trails. I've been a Trails patron for 30 years, so it's just kind of nice to get out there and see behind the scenes.
He enjoyed working with Laura too.
My husband and I have a small CPA firm in Warrensburg, and we audit a lot of small governmental entities. That's kind of our focus. And we like it's a way to do some community service too. So the audit, I don't know if all of you have a copy. Usually I do a quick hit and run on the audit report, but there's so many new faces. I'm going to do a little more detail this time so that people can understand. So if you look at page 1 of your report, or of the report, this is our contribution to the report. It's called the Independent Auditor Report. The rest of it, the financial statements and the notes, are your information. We do assist the library to prepare them so they look nice and pretty and meet all the standards, but Jackie has to review the draft and approve it and provide the information for it. So, excuse me?
May I say that we did not get that, we got an email with that information. So you're talking about it, but we don't have any written paperwork to go with it.
Yeah, it was just sent out in the email. Mhm.
Yeah, I asked if they needed bound copies, but Karen seemed to think that the email was what you wanted. In the future, they can easily print hard copies off for you, or we can do bound copies for the board. But that was the information I was given.
Okay, well, I was just gonna say, as you reference it, though, we can't see it.
Okay,
We
so
don't have a
does
copy.
anybody have copies? Are we?
I have it on email.
So-
I just share my
screen.
So those that have, yeah, and Jackie has, you've looked at it, Jackie, maybe you can share it with Carlin or.
No, I'm good. I'm just saying, though, that as you reference it, though, we can't look at it.
Okay, so some people can, some people can't, is kind of where we're at.
Normally, we get it to them in their packet, and so they can have a paper packet, those that request that. And it was a little late this time.
Right, because Jackie was gone all last week, so we had to finish it up. We had to finish it up Monday. There was, that's what happened. Maybe next year, Jackie, as a point of info, bring 5 paper copies. You guys, Karen can print those off.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
For your sake. So the audit opinion is the first thing in the letter, and what it says is we audit the financial statements and find them. It's a clean opinion. We find them clean. In our opinion, they're present fairly in all material respects. Your cash basis financial statements. So you guys are cash basis. Pretty much, it's what goes in and out of the checkbooks. Okay. So again, that's a clean opinion, and what that means in all material respects is we don't audit down to the penny. We don't audit even down to the $1,000 level. There's a statistical calculation we do, and anything below that, then we don't correct. This year in the audit, I did have a couple of adjustments, but they were primarily things that Jackie had worked with Colster's office to make corrections, but when the final copy came back, we didn't check that the corrections had been made. So it was moving some things around. The next part of the letter explains auditing standards and then the fact that you're cash basis. Then below that, the letter explains what the responsibilities of management are, that one of the big responsibilities is ensuring that you have a system of accounting controls in place and internal controls in place. So we go in with the premise that you will have a good accounting system and good procedures in place. Then the next page talks about, and this is kind of new in audit reports, it talks about the auditor's responsibilities and things like we have to keep professional skepticism. So even though I've audited, walk in with the idea that there are problems, I'm not going in with the idea that this person, Karen's done this job forever and it's going to be fine. I have to start the other way. And then we also have to look at your system of controls and policies like that. So that's primarily my contribution, to the audit. Then if you go to the next 2 pages, 3 and 4, they're what we call the government-wide statements. If you're a larger government like a city or a county or a state, you have what they call many different funds. So you're going to have your general fund with your main operations, but you're also, if you're a city, you're going to have a park fund and a street fund, things like that. Well, I don't know how many years ago, it's been quite a few years, they decided that instead of just having one financial statement that showed each of those funds separately, that we needed something that pulled them all together in one big number. And that's what this does. The other thing is many governments have these things called component units, and you have one of those, your library foundation. So even though the library foundation is separate, it's important part of the library, serves the library. So it's included in your financial statement as a component unit. So that's what these 2 pages do. I'm not going to go through the numbers. They're several months old now. You've seen it. So I just kind of want you to know what you're looking at. Then if you go to the next 2 pages, 5 and 6, This does not include the foundation because this is what they call just the library's funds. So it has your general fund column and your designated gifts column. And if you look on page 5, it shows the money you have, $3.5 million in the general fund and $375,000 in designated gifts. And then down below it splits out how much of this is unrestricted money that we can spend for library operations and how much is set aside some way for specific purposes. So that's kind of the totals, and it's explained, and we'll look at that real quick in the footnotes when we get back to that. That's really all I wanted to point out in the number pages. So if anybody has questions, please stop me. Carlin, you've heard my spiel before, so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, then the next couple of pages, 7, 8, and 9, are what we call summary of significant accounting policies. And in a government, because the Governmental Accounting Standards Board thinks that we need lots of information there. So there's just a lot of stuff. And it's kind of standard language, so it's really nothing specific to the library. We're going to skip that. But if you go to page 10, that we get into the note B, the specific, and it talks about cash and investments. That a big part of auditing cash and investments is we look at is your money secured? Do you have collateral? We see this many places where things get messed up and things are not collateralized. And if we all remember, not that many years ago, banks fail, banks go down. And if you don't have adequate collateral out there, then the library could, people haven't, but it could, you could lose the money. And state statutes also say that your money will be adequately collateralized at all times. So we do see that a lot of places and through the years, I think because we've made recommendations so many times, we've got people doing that and not having a problem. The note C is property taxes. It just talks about your levy and your assessed valuation. Then note D is information about loggers. So all you ever wanted to know about loggers is on these next 2 pages. The library makes their contributions. One of the things I've noted through the years is that your, what they call the net pension liability, the projected future pensions versus the projected money that's sitting there, you guys are always in a positive place, not a negative place. You have been for quite a few years. So we communicate with the loggers people in Jeff City, and they send us back actuarial valuations and things like that. The next page shows your long-term debt and the payments that are due over the next 5 years, and then in 5-year increments thereafter. So you have always had very little debt and a small debt load and no giant balloon payments or anything like that. The bottom of the page is just a couple of additional things we're required to report, and I think it's good information. Compensated absences now, vacation that people didn't take at the end of the year and they get to carry over, and if they leave, they would take that. It's up to over 100,000 now, that liability, because of the change in your compensated absence policy. Not saying that's bad, but it's just, something to note. We've seen that be problems. When I audited the county years ago, the sheriff's department had a lot of comp time and a lot of that, and then it got out of control, so they had to pay it all out, and it was a pretty big hit, to the bottom line. So it's something I think that it's a good thing. We have to report that. And then the copier lease is the other, but it's pretty minimal. And from the information I had, it's 1 more year and done. So, then the last page we'll go over, the next page is where, again, we talk about those monies you've set aside for different purposes. The designated gift fund has 2 funds that are legally restricted to very specific use, the Martin Fund and the Glazebrook Fund, and then the rest we just call, set aside at board discretion. Jackie and I talked about the designated gift fund, the fact that it's not earning interest, because I had read in the minutes that there was a lot of discussion about that. And I suggested to her that she look at CDs, because CD rates are good right now, and that would be an easy way, rather than going to put it in mutual funds or figure out, what you want to do with it. I think that would be an easy way to get a little more interest. And I don't think there would be restrictions from the gifts that would stop you from doing something like that, because it's cash. If it's sitting in a bank account, I would think it could be sitting in a CD, and it's still collateralized. So
don't you when you have to pay attention when you put those in a CD, because if you do a 6-month CD or a year CD, when it comes due, if you don't do something with it, it transfers over to a low interest CD.
Oh yeah, but I mean, that should be part of Jackie's job. She should be watching those investments, I would think. If you're going to put money in, any of us should. If we're putting money in a CD and they send us this is going to automatically renew, then we ought to look at the rate that it's going to renew at. So at that point,
because I know a lot of times they'll kick them back down to a lower.
Well, yeah, it's whatever the market is. If you're so yes, that's a valid point that you should watch that. But right now they're sitting in a money market account that's earning very, very little, and it wouldn't be something I'd recommend from the audit necessarily. But I always read your board minutes, and I saw that it was heated discussion several times reading between the lines. So the other funds you have are things that the board set aside. So you have your vehicle replacement fund, your debt service money, and things like that. Those things, Jackie and I also talked about, is you move money into them by board action. So usually it's through budget, you need to act it. But to take money out, Jackie doesn't have, according to your policy, I don't think the authorities with Jackie. I think we need board resolutions to spend that money. So that's always important to remember and document in your minutes that if you're going to buy a new vehicle or something like that, to have the board authorized using the vehicle replacement fund. And then the last part in the footnotes is these tax abatements. You have no control over those. The county enters into tax abatements. The big one of yours is this AECI, and I don't know how many of you are around the Holden area, but they were an electric company that came in many years ago, and I think it's ending. But I had a discussion, I think it was the fire district out in the Fire 2 out there, and because they're affected by it also. And I had a discussion, and we're not sure how that ending, if it means you're going to get more money or if it really just means your levy adjusts for it. So I think that you'll get some information on that, in the future. Okay, and then the last part's the budget, which, again, you have no problems with your budget. You guys usually set a very conservative, high budget, so everything was within budget. The very last part of your report is the second thing we do in a government audit, and it's called the communication of, it could be material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. I'm happy to report after the last few years you've had material weaknesses. This year we just have a significant deficiency. So a material weakness is you have a weakness in your accounting procedures that could lead to a large error in your financial statements that staff would not detect. But a significant deficiency means, okay, probably wouldn't lead to a large error, but it's something we ought to fix. And it's something that says that should be brought to the attention of those charged with governance, which is what you are. This year in the audit, I just found a lot of little problems, a lot of mistakes, a lot of things that happen that, on a regular basis that probably shouldn't be happening. So at the bottom of that page, we've really pushed the last few years to have Karen, I'll go ahead and use Karen, not pay a bill unless somebody else has initialed it. And that kind of stems from few years ago when we had a fraud by somebody else. But you in any organization, and especially a government, and that protects her as well as the organization, is that somebody ought to be initialing. So I do a random sample, and then I also just pick some things, particularly like out of the incidental account and large items that I think. So I found numerous bills that she was still paying without having initials on them. We had a couple of instances in that random sample that she double paid bills. And some of them where the staff had written the correct amount on there, but she went ahead and paid because it was where the payment from the prior month didn't clear. So the bill maybe was $3,000 when it was really $1,500 was all the. So we had that. And then something Jackie and I talked about when you pay a bill, you want the invoice that shows what you're paying. You want the invoice that shows this is what we bought, this is a service that was provided. We had several instances, again, I found where people were paying from monthly statements. So it just said, this is how much you owe, and maybe listed the invoice numbers, but there was no detail on there. So Jackie, I think, was going to take that to staff and talk about that. We had quite a few little random deposits that got coded to the wrong account. And I think in talking to Karen, it was two numbers that are very close, and she gets busy. But when you have your property tax account, which should really be one monthly payment from the county, has $342.76 in there. And it would be an easy check for somebody to just look at those things and pull. So, and then at the end of the year, there were 2 checks written to performers. And I think this is a miscommunication or somebody thought too much. The performers were going to perform that summer. So let's get it in last year's budget and write those checks. But we held on to them until the performers actually came after the end of the year. And that's kind of a big no-no. You want them to be, you want to have the checks at the time. So that's, and I think I've kind of talked about my recommendations as we went through there, but nothing serious. Huge progress made from 2-3 years ago. Things are moving forward, and it's good to see. Questions for me? That was kind of long. Next year will be really fast.
They're getting shorter and shorter every year.
Unless, you guys all have to stay on the board.
Like when we move that money to CDs,
Correct. Yeah.
Does it have to be like board approved how long a CD or anything that we put it in?
Well, I think that's up to the board and Jackie to work out is whether you do it. I'm just saying that was an option that I talked about with her because we had read that you were interested in investing that money. And I think investing that money, you really have to be careful because it is government money. So you can't just go to Edward Jones and say, here, put my money in mutual funds. So you have to have it in things that are approved by the state treasurer. So, CDs would be easy. I don't know, according to your...
Wouldn't it have to be something that was FIC?
Yeah, FDIC or collateralized. But if you stay with the bank, they'll collateralize. Most banks will. But again, that's up to your board policies. Or the library policies. I don't know what the director has the authorization to do first.
I think it has to come to the board for approval.
It would be a good idea to me.
And even if it wasn't in policy, I would feel better if I brought it and they approved it.
I think there's a minutia where you want Jackie to just handle it, but anything that is important, I think that's great to have board input and action on. Any questions? Any other? You have something else?
One, and you may not know this, but like the interest and stuff that money makes, does it go back into that fund?
Absolutely.
So then, does it attach to that, whatever the speculation?
I know what you're getting to.
The spec for that they left that money for.
So, there's a spreadsheet that Jackie maintains that came from Karen Hicklin, you know, it's rolled forward and it's beautiful. But you have the beginning balance at the beginning of the year and then the interest, and then take that interest every month, and whether it's from a CD or a bank account, and they say, okay, this percentage goes to each one, they just prorate it. So if you put 500,000, no, there's not that much in there. Let's put 100,000 in the CD. You put 100,000 in the CD and the other 275 sitting in the bank account. That 100,000 from the CD doesn't belong to just the John Martin or the Glazebrook fund. It belongs to all funds pro rata.
So you wouldn't have to break it down to just like this designated gift and keep it separate from the others. And
That's what accounting.
That's what I get to do.
That's what accounting.
It'd be easier if you did it that way, but
I don't think so. I think it'd be more difficult. Because then you're always having to roll this little CD for this fund and this one. But it's, you just treat it like you have it all in one bank account right now.
Yeah.
So if you have it, some in a CD and some in a bank account, same principle. Mm-hmm.
Okay, is everybody satisfied or?
All right.
Thank you, Laura, for
Thank
coming
you.
and for your time and
Thank you.
your work.
Sorry, it took a little long.
Thanks, Laura.
That's all right. Well, I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to new business. Oh, we are at new business. Never mind. Let's move on to the next. Okay, the Trails Library Foundation reporting to Trails Library Board of Trustees. I think that at one time we asked that they would report to us, and so do I understand correctly? They just want to send minutes, and that's going to be it.
Yeah, because you missed the last.
I did. I was sicker than a dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, at one of the, I think it was our last board meeting, you guys requested to have quarterly updates from the foundation or reports from the foundation. So this was on their agenda, so whenever we discussed it, they were like, well, can't we just send them the minutes? I didn't quite think that was what you guys were wanting. Now, in their bylaws, it does say that the foundation board president must give an annual report to the board of trustees. So anyway, they're just needing some clarification on exactly what this report, what you guys are wanting as far as the reporting from them.
So they meet quarterly, right?
Quarterly.
Quarterly. So do we need to just discuss this, or do we need
I
to
just think
vote
it
on
would be
this?
nice to know like what they're doing and where they're at.
Like, do you guys want, like, for 3 of those quarters, would just me sending the minutes in your packet, would that be okay?
Yeah.
And then have the board president come
Once a
one
year.
time a year to present to the board?
And has the board president been coming one time a year and doing that?
Not since I've been here,
Okay.
but it is in their bylaws that way. And we did talk about that too at their meeting, so.
Maybe we can pick a month, like they come every December,
I wouldn't suggest.
or whatever.
We don't really meet in December.
For my job, and it's better to set it that. Like, we just
Like
select,
a set time
like,
when they're gonna
June of
report,
every
yeah.
year, they come at
And
our meeting.
When are
or
their
whatever.
meetings?
So their last meeting of the year, even though it's on into the next year, is August. The beginning of August, so they can maybe come to your August meeting, which is budget time, or would you rather them come to September meeting? But yeah, I agree. If you have it just
That
set,
way they know, we know.
yeah.
There's not, well, should we do July this year?
Do the numbers change? I mean, how often do the members change?
We haven't had a lot of turnover on that board.
Yeah, but don't they have a 4-year term like we do?
They do, yes, but there's no
Limit.
Yeah, but they are 4-year terms.
I would suggest talking with them to see if there's a natural time that they would like to give a report.
For the annual report?
Yeah, for the annual report, because, a lot of times there's certain things that need to happen and they'd have a better idea.
I think it would work better though if we don't do it while we're doing budget.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, and I would even almost like to hear from them at the end of so not like their first meeting, in August or whatnot, but kind of wrapping up what they've done in the past year
So
and
that
then
would-
looking ahead to the
That
next
would be
year.
a wrap-up meeting.
So August is the wrap-up meeting? Okay.
Because normally, because I can't get the reports that they need until the 15th of the following month, and it was falling where their meeting was the last Wednesday of the month, and that was rushing me to get everything done. So I asked them to push it back a week, so it's that first Wednesday in August, and so that's their end of the year meeting, basically.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't want to do it in August.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, they
Yeah, because we're in the middle of,
September.
we're at the end of budget in August, and that's probably pushing.
So maybe September? I mean, they wouldn't have a meeting then, but that would be when they
Right.
would come to
Come
report.
to this
Yeah.
meeting, yeah.
And we're asked by September.
Inviting them.
Right.
Yeah, and if
That's
they-
what would
Yeah,
work
we'd like
best
it,
for
yeah,
us,
That
but
we'd like a set time, and we suggest September would work best for us
for an annual report.
for an annual report. And then otherwise, we're just getting meetings or minutes from their meetings.
Will September be when Laura comes?
Do you think there'll be much discussion?
On the report, or,
Yeah, on the presentation that they give us, do we expect it to be very long?
I wouldn't think so. I wouldn't think it would be very long. I mean, at least not right now. I mean,
Just tell them they have 15.
yeah, you can give them a time limit, yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think, the idea is we're not asking because we're not happy with what they're doing. We just want to better understand what they're doing and
Yeah,
making
we
sure
really
we're
just-
working the best together that we can.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that
Just
we're
really
checking
aren't
up on
aware
them or
of what
not.
takes place
Yeah.
or what they've
Yeah.
done, yeah.
But yeah,
So
as
we-
far as like telling them what we want them to report on, we don't want them to just come read minutes from the meeting because we can, but just kind of, what's in store, what's in the works and,
Just
Kind of a
a general,
overview of what has.
what they've done and where they're going.
There we go.
All right, do we need to vote on this? Do we need to? Or can we just agree?
I don't think we have
I don't,
the
I would
right to
think
do
not.
it.
I don't think
but-
we have to vote on it.
Are,
That's fine with me, I just.
are we
I'm
their
just-
governing board? I know we
No.
approved their
Yeah.
people, then I don't see why we would vote. Because we're making a request, is that?
Mhm.
Yeah, we're just making a request, well, that's what I thought, but.
No, I think that's what you should be asking.
Their next meeting is November 1st, so I'll be informing them of all this, so.
Yeah, that should give them plenty of time to get them up with, yeah, something. Okay. All right, are we all okay with that? All right. All right, the next item of business is, consider accepting a donation of a pump organ for the Warrensburg branch. I personally agree that why do you want an organ in the library? You're not gonna let anybody play it.
Okay, I
you're
know
not
they have a
gonna-
piano, but that was.
You're not gonna let anybody play it because it's gonna be distracting, disruptive, and where are they gonna put it?
A lot of times people want to just give things to the library because they
I know.
can't think of anything else to do with it.
Or maybe they checked with a couple churches and other places and.
The university has the McClure Archives, and they've got some neat old instruments there. It seems like that might be a good home for it rather than,
And what was the name of?
the McClure Archives at the university. Amber Clifford is the, person who knows everything over there about that. That's her
Amber-
title, Clifford.
That's the title, let the person who knows everything. I like that.
Yes, I love that.
Because by taking it becomes something that
I like that.
we are responsible to
Right.
ensure. And, they're heavy, and so that becomes an issue on flooring and stuff
And
like
there
that.
aren't probably a whole lot of people that know how to work on it.
I just think there are better opportunities for people to appreciate it
I saw the photo, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
If the archives don't have use for it, I believe it's downtown Warrensburg people who have things. The theater was just donated to Main Street Warrensburg. And that's a beautiful old building that they're planning to restore and do some stuff in, and that might be a nice visual piece there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know every organization's name, but.
I think you did a good job describing.
Is that something we need to vote on? Probably.
Probably.
All right.
I make a motion that we accept the pump organ for the Warrensburg branch of Trails.
Has to be positive.
Yeah.
Positive.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, let's have a roll call vote, please. Is there discussion? I'm sorry, I always forget that. We already discussed it. But.
Leanna?
Yes.
Goldie?
No.
Judy?
No.
Michelle?
No.
Carlin?
No.
Becky? No. Dan?
No.
Patty?
No.
Thanks for shooting down my.
Okay, so the motion carried. All right, now, the next item of business is an update. Jackie's just gonna kind of give us an update about the rates going up, or, does Tessa want to do it?
Either way,
Your mind might be thinking a little clearly than mine tonight.
I spoke with our assured partner representative, Callahan Taylor. He came in and talked with me about our rates, and there have been quite a few increases this year. He did say some of our properties were underinsured, and one of them was the Lexington branch. And so that branch, the increase, I don't know if you all, did you receive a paper that looked like this? Did you give them that? No? Okay. And I can pass this around if you want to look at it. It has everything broken down. The Lexington branch, they actually have gone up from $660,000 for what they were assessing it to $728,000 for this year, for this coming year. So it is, or actually, I'm sorry, that's the cost. That's the increase in cost. The building went from 1.7 million to 2 million in assessment. So we did have some increases in.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, they said,
9,000.
yeah, 900,000, or
9,000 for our premium, or
Right.
our policy.
right.
Is that what it appraised at?
Yeah, they said, when I was talking with our representative, he said that we were underinsured for that building. So basically, he was saying if we would have a fire and lose everything, they would only pay out the 1.7 million, which would not cover the cost of rebuilding that building. And that is in part due because of the cost of materials and everything that we have in the building.
Property values have gone up.
Property values of
All the property values in Lafayette County have gone up. Our property values went, a lot worth more money than it was last year.
I know there's been an issue in Kansas City with that as well.
Yeah, well,
Property.
they,
Yeah.
if it raises more than 18%, it has to be reviewed or something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that one in Lexington was, I think, the highest increase. I believe
Knob was
another one that increased. He just said on that one as well that we were underinsured for that type of building. So, overall, we do have an increase of over $9,000 in our property insurance. So, we just got the rates for our workman's comp, which is with Assured Partners as well. The increase was not as high. You guys will probably talk about that next month more so, but I did bring all of our policies with Assured Partners. If anybody would love to read these, I can pass them around as well. But we do have our commercial, so our liability, our property, and then just like the umbrella and workman's comp with them.
with the Assured Partners.
Looks like workers' comp only went up like $300.
Yeah, it did not go up as much. We do not have, very many claims with workman's comp. Average, I think, about one a year, so, and our rating is below
Yeah, I was
the
gonna say the rating
percentage.
should be
Yeah, our
more.
rating is a lot lower than one, so we.
Have we thought about getting a second?
We can start doing that for next year. I know they,
A second.
I mean, Assured Partners, they are our brokers, so they actually go out and they do all of the bidding for us. So we don't even have to really do that ourselves. They just send it out to all of the companies and get the best bid for us.
So what do you need us to do?
I don't need anything.
This one is just information.
Yeah, this is just informational. Nothing is, it just, basically they renew automatically unless something wants to, unless you all want something to happen.
So the building's insured through Assured.
It's through Cincinnati Insurance Company.
Cincinnati.
Yes, Cincinnati Insurance Company. Assured Partners is just our broker.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you ever want our representative to come in, I can have him come in and talk to you all about any of this.
Who is your representative?
Callahan Taylor. He's our new representative. We used to have somebody never did meet, and I don't know who it was. But he is brand new. He just started like 2 months ago.
I think the other guy retired.
Okay.
I remember.
Are they in Warrensburg?
Yes. Yeah. They actually have offices in both Sedalia and Warrensburg, but our representative is in Warrensburg.
Anybody have any other questions or anything?
I'd say thank you for sharing
Yeah,
it, but
I know.
A little iffy on that.
Hey, I've been working with insurance the last couple of weeks, and it's not been fun. And I don't know about
for sharing it.
She's done a good job putting the numbers together.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move on then. Okay, we're at E, consider the options for library contributions to employee health insurance. So,
Do you want me to move so that you don't have to look around? I can move if you want me to. No, you're fine. Okay. I did put together a very lengthy document for you. I was hoping that it was very extensive in information. I did share it with several people to make sure that I had all of the information. But then, of course, the other day I shared it with Susan Cromery, and she noticed that I had an error, I think on page 9 or 10. Where is that?
Oh, really? I didn't even see.
I didn't notice.
zoned out by the time I got
It was a cost for one of the plans. I forgot a number in it, and I'm sure I will.
Oh, okay.
I think I fixed it on mine, so I'm not sure where it's at now. I can just do a brief overview. If you have questions, then you can ask. We did have an 18% increase from our insurance from last year to this year, which is the information on the first page. I did contact several libraries, Scenic Regional. They were definitely very, very forthcoming in everything that they have. They also had a 19% increase in their insurance. So it's all over the place. I talked with our representative, who is now moving to a different position, but he did say this is not just a trails increase. It is all over the place. So I was kind of concerned. I didn't know if there was a specific reason, but he said, no, everybody is seeing these kind of increases. I put some information on the next page about the Affordable Care Act. We don't really fit within the legal regulations because we do not have 50 full-time employees at Trails. However, we want to kind of keep in mind that people do have to survive, especially with the cost of living right now. It's kind of expensive. I used to be able to fill up my tank for $25, and I only got a half a tank today with that. So
how many employees do we have?
I think we have total, counting our, part-time employees, like there's a formula to figure out how many full-time. So we have about 45 total full-time, what they would consider about 45 total full-time employees.
The individual employees, when we're fully staffed, it's 51,
Right,
but that's a mixture of full-time and part-time.
right, exactly.
It's full-time, 30 hours or more, or what?
Yes.
30 or more, yeah.
So, I just put some information about how much the, employee makes, what it would cost then to get what the government says, the IRS says would be affordable, and that's $633.49. Have all the calculations typed up for you. And then on the back of that page, there's information about how much each employee in the organization makes. So the first number in the chart is hourly salary, then how many employees are at that rate, and then the last number is what their gross salary increase is. So for the year, that's how much they make more now than they did prior, if that makes sense. Okay, I did put some other numbers in there just so you get an idea what the median is, the mean and the mode. I was a math teacher, so it was kind of interesting information.
I like
And then I did some, I showed which of the employees could actually pay for the increases with just their increase in salary for this year. That's what the orange is. And so you can see majority of the employees don't.
Is this a weekly?
This is how much they increased for the year.
Per pay period?
For the year.
No, for the entire year. So you would take, like for the $13.63 an hour, you would take that $825.55 and divide that by 14, because that's how many pay periods we have in a year.
26.
Or 26. I'm thinking.
Aren't this math?
I know. So, we pay twice a month for our insurance. I know right now the HSA is about $97 twice a month.
So let me make sure that I understand this.
Mhm.
So someone who makes $13.63 an hour is going to pay $825 out of their pocket for their insurance?
No, that's how much their salary increased just from this last year.
Okay.
No, actually, the amount that you would pay is on the next page.
We've got it all broken down for you.
Yeah. So the HSA increased for this next year, $130.54. Just the increase alone is $1,566.48. That's just the increase.
For our lowest paid employee, the increase is pretty much double what they are making as an.
Exactly. Exactly. If you look at the chart below, it shows you the employee's annual cost, because they currently pay $193.42, plus they'll pay that increase of $130.54 for $323.96 a month times 12 months. So they're paying almost $4,000 a year in insurance.
What's their deductible?
The HSA is
It's
a health savings, so it's just a 20%. It's high. Yeah, I think, I
That's what I have too.
can't
It is high.
remember,
Don't
you
get sick.
have, you could probably tell me more, I'm not sure what the deductible is.
I don't know it off the top of my head.
5,000?
I want to
Okay,
say
so
it's like 4 or something.
Comparable.
Yeah,
Or it's like 5.
right. The PTO 1250,
I was assuming 1250 was the deductible.
that is the deductible for that, yes.
Too bad they didn't put the numbers in the HSA.
I'm sorry, I should have brought the plan with me. So for the 1250, that would be almost 5,100 a year. Okay, and then if we offered the PPO 750, that would be $5,777 a year. Okay, and that's, of course, a deductible of $750. We are not allowed to offer 3 plans. With Missouri Consolidated, we are only allowed to offer 2. So we have to decide which plans we want. We typically offer the HSA and then one of the PPOs, just because the HSA is lesser, payment for some people. And some people like it just because they don't have to go to the doctor as much, so.
This would make you go to the doctor.
I know. Hey, I was having a good time. I like math, so I was enjoying all of these figures when I was working them out.
As long as you don't have to pay them.
I know.
That's right.
I don't have to pay them. On the next page or the back, I did a cost comparison between different amounts. So currently we only have 18 employees who take out insurance. And so we pay $9,450 a month because we pay $525 per employee. So over the cost of the year, it's $113,400 is what we pay. I gave you a couple other amounts just as comparisons if we had 23 employees. So that's our current 18 plus if we, had the extra 6 come on that are, not in employment yet. That's how much the amount would be or amounts would be. And then for 33 full-time employees, we would pay $17,325 a month or $207,900 a year.
For the employees who are not currently taking insurance, is that because they've chosen not to have insurance or because they are covered under someone else or a mix or?
They're covered under someone else, yeah.
So if we raise this, how much we contribute, what does that do to our budget? Because we just passed the budget.
We did just pass the budget. Yeah. I would have to move some money around in order to cover this. Probably from that big miscellaneous capital project. We had, I can't even remember how much we had in there, but that's where we would
cover the extra that.
Yeah, so it's in there. We just wouldn't be able to do as many capital projects because it would pull from that. But.
Right.
I found the missing number.
Did you?
At the very bottom with the 5.
Yes,
and I did bring the budget with me, so it's much better.
So their insurance is just based on whatever the insurance company. It's not based on how much they make for.
No.
Unfortunately, it's not.
And unfortunately, we can't negotiate rates with the insurance company. Here it is. That's it. But I did a cost comparison for the different amounts. What we pay now, $525. What the Affordable Care Act. So I rounded it to $635. Gave you those amounts. The $848.95. That's how much the HSA plan costs. The $949.25, that's how much the PPO 1,200 costs, and then the $1,006.39.
That's where the error was at.
At the very bottom of the page, yeah, Michelle told me. At the very bottom, the 5 little stars, it should not be $100.39. It should be $1,006.39. So, the next couple of pages,
I want to point out too, the last time that Trails increased the employer contribution was January 1st of 2014.
Right. I had to go back through all of the typed up minutes. They were not even electronic. I had to go back and flip through and find it. So, but yes, and the insurance, and that's about when they increased it from 500 to 525. I did the math, and that's about 86% of what they were paying of the $604. So if that gives you any indication of how much of Trails was covering for employees. The blue chart, that's comparison of trails with the other 4 libraries that I had responded. I had one more respond, Barry Lawrence. However, I had already printed these up before so I did not get a chance to put their information in. However, with their coverage, they pay 99% of the employees. So Barry Lawrence pays, I think, everything but $100, I believe, out of the 1,000 that they have, which I think they have the PPO 750 is what they have.
I found this really, really helpful to have those comparatives.
Thank you. Well, it's good to know how we stand as a, just in general compared to other libraries.
My question is, okay, you have the 4 options.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a recommendation as to which of those would be the most
Well,
favorable?
To be honest, the PPO 750 would definitely be the most favorable for, I think, employees, just because we do have a lot lower deductible. It's a lot less money out of the employee's pocket. I know we've had discussions with employees about, sometimes it's hard. Are we going to eat or are we going to buy our medications? It's just that money is really tight for a lot of people. And I think that would definitely be beneficial. Otherwise, paying for the 1250 plan, I think it would be my next recommendation. I know that
option 1 is your
option 1 is my recommendation, and then I kind of put them in order of how I would consider them for you guys to consider. The last 2 definitely would save the library the most money. However, I have had some employees tell me that if the price is increased for insurance, they are just not going to have insurance because they can't afford it.
Just said, some people, most of them aren't taking, the ones who aren't taking it,
Mm-hmm.
they're covered under someone else.
Correct.
Are there some, though, who aren't taking it simply because they cannot afford it?
Not at this point. Not at this point.
But is that paying for the ones that can afford the increase?
On that page 4, I believe that is, the ones in orange, that means that their salary increase that we just received would cover the increase. So out of all 49 employees that we have currently, 4 can pay for the PPO, 6 can pay for the
That's what I'm
HSA.
saying though, but like this price is excluding those. that can
No,
afford- It's for
no,
all of
it's
them?
for everybody. Because it would be difficult for us to say, you make more money, we're not paying your insurance. We can't exclude people for their wages.
Yeah, the benefits we offer have to
Right.
be the
Mhm.
same.
It's across the board.
Right. I know in the past we have, Trails has offered to change how much they pay depending on if the employee is a 30 or 40-hour employee.
I saw your stuff for the length of time. With
Mhm. And that was, Jackie had recommended that she had seen that in other places, and so I had not even thought about that was the length of time. I know when I was going through the minutes, the 30-hour employees in the past have paid 70, or we paid 75%, and then they paid the 25, but we only have one at this point who takes out our insurance.
As far as what you're hearing when you talk with potential employees, is this a question that is asked?
I think people, and myself included, are very surprised because anywhere I've ever worked, the employer has picked up for just the employer. Like, I didn't have to pay anything.
I like them.
And I know, and that's
but
lot
not
of people.
a lot, but not a
Right.
lot.
There's a lot of people that come in and are surprised that they're having to pay so much already for just a single employer plan,
And I noticed that,
employee plan.
I noticed that it didn't include dental or eyes because
Correct.
apparently those don't have anything to do with your health. But, sorry, I get annoyed every time I see that on my
Right.
paycheck. Do they have those policies available to them as add-ons?
Yes, not through this company, that's part of our
That's through a
insurance
different-
partners, yes.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure that was available.
Yes, we have dental vision, we have voluntary buy-up plans for life and other things. And we have Aflac too.
So if we go with this option one,
Mhm.
then how much is the employee paying?
Nothing.
So we're picking up the cost of their whole insurance.
Correct.
The employee only, but if they have a
Employee
family
only.
plan, then they would still have to pay what was above just what the employee plan, the single plan would be.
But there's still a deductible.
Yes, there's still a deductible.
I'm wondering, I know you said that a lot of them that are not on our insurance are on somebody else's insurance, but they may have had an increase as well, where they may switch and decide to be insured, individually. And so that would be an extra cost for us.
We wouldn't pay for dependents.
No, she,
Right, but no,
So-
them personally. So like, if you were on your
Oh,
husband's
I see
plan,
what you're saying.
but
yeah.
he's paying
Mhm.
$400 a month for you and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, they're going to pay for it. And that,
I'll switch
Right.
over.
Mhm.
So that number could be more.
It could be, or older 50 or, 50s or 60s, some late 40s. We have nobody in their 30s on our plan, and I think 2 in their 20s. So if we did have more younger employees, I think it would help our rates as well.
Oh, yeah, because they,
Because I don't know if you noticed in Johnson County, I did call Johnson County and they talk about that, adding dependents. They actually double what they provide for their employees because they like having those dependents. It does. It
So,
gives them benefits.
so then what's the difference between option one and option two? Because
Option 2 has the higher deductible. It goes from $750 to $1,250.
now, if we were to choose option 2, would the employees have an option then to pay the difference between the $750 and the $1,250?
If-
Or are we limited because we can only offer 2 plans?
We can only offer 2 plans. So for them to be able to buy up to the $750, we would not be able to provide the HSA. If that makes sense. And I don't know if everybody would want the PPO $1,250 unless we just say, we're, you're.
when you're
50.
talking about tens of thousands of dollars, it's only $10,000 more.
Right.
So it's like, are you gonna pay $100? Or you're gonna pay $90?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
So what is our task?
Yeah. Task is to determine what you as a board would like to provide for the employees. I mean, you don't have to change. That is completely up to you. I am just bringing you this information with the knowledge that there's a huge increase coming.
Yeah, I think that's a big increase to ask an employee who's making fairly minimum wage.
They'll be making, with their 3% increase that we did, they'll actually be making less. They pay the
Yeah,
increase.
I think that's asking a lot for.
And I know minimum wage is going up again. And so, no, but I mean, they've already made their increase until next fiscal year. So their increase, has to get them through even this next increase in minimum wage, which,
So to maintain our status as a great place with benefits.
yes. And that's something that, it would be very nice to have this included in the benefits, just to say all of your insurance is paid.
And to me, looking at the comparative makes that more important to me, seeing that most of the similar places have something as a benefit that's beyond what we currently do.
And I was trying as best I could. I used the Missouri statistics or the Missouri State Library statistics to find some libraries that were comparable in size and in staffing. I know Scenic and Cass are a little bit bigger. However, in branch size, they're the same as what we are.
Hey, I'm all about supporting employees.
Is there any option to like completely cover the HSA? But then if you want, because it looks like, you know, it's probably a little better coverage for the PPO 1250, then you pay a little bit of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
mean,
you can decide how you want to do the payment. I mean, if you want to just cover the HSA and then if somebody wants to buy up, that's an option as well.
But just nice to have the option. I mean, you know, if they want it all paid, then that's the plan they'll need to go to. But then if they want a little extra, then maybe they could afford to.
Doing that would be so beneficial because the difference between the HSA and the PPO 1250 is about $100. And so that's less than what we're paying.
Which would be $50 a paycheck.
Right, exactly.
Well, but it's kind of redundant to give them a raise and say, oh, but by the way, we're gonna give you this, and it's gonna cost you your raise and more.
Right.
We've had a lot of employees that are pretty upset, not knowing what they're gonna do and.
Right, and I know I've even checked with my husband to see how much it would cost to have me put on his insurance, just because I'm like, that's $425 a month out of my own paycheck going to insurance.
Which I know it's a lot of money, but.
I looked at the budget and it looks like to me there
There's
would be
room.
money, yeah.
Okay, yep.
So to help everybody, the employees, with the getting the insurance, they're worried. If we make a decision tonight, how soon can you let them know so that worry is gone?
They'll know tomorrow.
Right.
Okay.
I will email
They're
them.
probably watching now.
And if not, I will definitely email them tomorrow. Our open enrollment starts October 1st.
Yeah.
So I know some of them are starting to try and plan for that. However, they were waiting to see what happens.
I mean, we're having a hard time keeping employees anyway.
Mhm.
And,
It has slowed down, thank goodness.
I feel,
I'm sorry, don't want to jinx us.
I feel like that's another thing that we need to look at is hourly wages and things, because I don't feel like we're competitive enough to keep employees, even the part-time employees. I mean, they're fleeing out like, can't keep them. They work one day and they quit the second day because they found a better job. So we got to do something. Employees are our backbone. So if we don't keep employees, we can't open the doors.
Employees are our greatest asset.
Yes.
All right. Anybody else have other questions, or are we ready to make a decision? Does someone want to make a motion, or?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we accept option 1 and we pay employee pay for the Trails Regional will pay for the employee's insurance.
For the HSA and the 1250.
I'm going with option 1.
Okay.
So that's the 750.
750.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say that correctly? I kind of danced.
You say option,
Yeah, sounded good.
option 1 kind of covers it because it's
Yeah.
in black and white, so. There's
Oh, did
that.
I need to second?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, this is for HSA and PPO 750
Yes.
Anthem.
And then 92,000.
So we're covering the cost of the
That would be the.
HSA and the PPO too.
Would cost the library.
And that
So they would
probably
choose
be-
which plan they wanted, and whichever plan they want, then we would.
Right. Because it's only $10,000. When you look from one to the other, it's only 10,000. We can sneeze and pay that.
In what way is it only 10,000?
Well, between the
Between the options, between the options, there's only $10,000.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to, accept, choose option 1 as, the healthcare payment that the library's gonna make for employees. All right. We already had discussion, but any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Deanna,
Yes.
Colby,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Dan,
Yes.
Patty.
Yes. Okay, motion carried.
I'd like to extend a very sincere thank you to every one of you for that. I know all of our employees, especially if they're listening, are
They're
very
probably cheering right
Yes.
now.
And I'm sure as soon as they find out, they will be so excited.
I think we can all
Very
put
thank you.
ourselves in that position. I know I personally have worked for companies like companies that don't, so. I know what that's like.
And I think we all have these concerns.
All right, and Jackie has said we probably need a motion in order for her to
Right.
move the money. So what would be the correct wording for that?
So, the motion would be to move, the 92, whatever that was, 92,000 something, from capital miscellaneous projects to insurance.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we move $92,644.56 from our, what fund? Capital?
Miscellaneous project.
Capital miscellaneous projects to insurance. That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you. All right, a motion's been made and seconded that we move money from capital miscellaneous projects to insurance in the amount of $92,644.56. Let's have a roll call vote.
Deanna,
Yes.
Colby,
Yes.
Judy,
Yes.
Yes.
Harlan,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Dan,
Yes.
Patty.
All right, motion carried. All right.
Well, that's the most announcement in a while.
You don't live on a farm.
Yeah. I was gonna say, come to my house.
You don't live on a farm.
Come to my house.
I know.
Maybe not 92,000 every month.
Sure.
Okay. All right, that concludes our business. No.
Yep, we have announcements.
We're at announcements, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
All right, Jackie, go ahead. You're the announcement lady.
All right, so just wanted to let everybody know Band Book Week is October 1st through the 7th, so that'll be next week. So I know a lot of our branches have displays up, so.
We don't have to put them in the corner?
Okay. And I know Waverly was just working on theirs today, so, I think they just lack a sign to put up or something, so. So all of our branches are gonna be closed on Monday, October 9th for our all-staff professional development day. Board retreat, just a reminder, is Wednesday, October 11th from 6 to 8. And that's all the announcements I have.
Okay. All right.
I know I've asked this before, but the board retreat's at Warrensburg, correct?
Correct, yes.
And there will be,
You can't
Some
come.
food.
Is that what you're gonna tell me? Mike can't come either.
Oh, no. I started to schedule over it, and then I was like, wait, let me check my calendar. And then I was like, oh, yeah, that works.
can we tape it?
Well, we're
I
trying
would
to.
think so.
I'm
Judy.
going to have my granddaughters, I have to pick one of them up at 5:30 in Higginsville, and take her to my house, and then get back to Warrensburg, and there's no problem for you.
I mean, we should be able to, just like we do our meetings, just not live stream it, but just record it, so then whoever wasn't able to attend.
And there will be food provided.
Thanks to Goldie.
Can I interrupt your announcement?
Yeah, go
Jeff?
right ahead.
If there's anything that you feel like you would like to see in the training, Jackie has a big list of things. But if there's anything that you think that, hey, would be beneficial, please let Jackie know. Patty told me I could help.
And I'm holding her to
I was
that.
being nice. I was being nice.
I'm putting her to work.
I didn't want you to think I just took over. She told me.
I said,
So it's
that
not-
sounds good to me.
our
If you do it.
Our retreat's not considered a meeting?
It
It'll
is,
be in quorum?
it is considered a meeting.
but
but
it doesn't have to be.
it doesn't have to be live streamed.
Just minutes.
Just minutes, yep, that's it. And then open to the public, so if there were any public that wanted to attend, we would have to let.
So you're saying if you recorded it, then if Judy was at home, she could still listen? Is that what you're saying? Or listen to it later?
She'd have to watch
I have
it
to
later.
Be later,
Watch
okay.
it later because I won't be home at 6 o'clock. You know,
Yeah,
by the time I
okay, I'm
pick up.
sorry, I thought that's what you said.
So
Never
you
mind.
have the option
Okay,
if
just
you
ignore
want.
me. Okay, are we ready to go on?
Now you
All
just
right.
have to,
Yeah, and we need a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel. Do I hear a motion?
I move, we go into closed session to discuss personnel.
Right, motion has been made and seconded to go into closed session to discuss personnel. All right, roll call vote, please.
Leanna?
I'm sorry, what is that one?
going into closed session.
Oh, yeah.
Goldie?
Yes.
Judy?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Dan?
Yes.
Yes.
Does that mean that we stop the live stream at this point?
Yes.
Right.
Which Roger is gonna take care of that for us. So we'll have just a mini break, so if anybody needs to use the restroom.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you.
I will be here, yes.
Ah.
I have my.
It's right through there
thing,
into the
because I
right.
don't have a new
Well,
one
you
yet.
know, I thought you were.
I don't-
So what is your title?
I'm HR manager.
Okay, that's what I thought, but that's not good. All right.
I'm working on my certification right now, so
She's doing a marvelous job.
I'm trying.
Are you on my?
Yeah, whatever.
Do we need to tell Roger we're done, or did you give him the sign?